What is up, you guys? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Devin, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the new GoPro Hero 9. First of all, this video is not sponsored by GoPro. I bought the Hero 9 with my own hard-earned money. Now, I am a big fan of GoPro and a lot of their products, and ever since they announced the GoPro Hero 9, I've been really excited about it. So I wanted to share some of my first impressions with you now that I've got to spend a little bit of time with this camera. This is more or less a first impressions and some test footage. I want to spend more time with it and get more creative and figure out some of the settings even more and share what I find out with you guys along the way. So with that said, let's get into it. So right off the bat, compared to the Hero 8, the Hero 9 is slightly bigger. Now you've got a front-facing screen, which I didn't think that I would use that much. And luckily you can turn it off if you don't want to use it, and it'll save a little battery life. But I've actually found it really helpful, especially when trying to frame up a shot. If you're wearing like a chest mount and you can't see the screen on the back, you can kind of glance at the front screen and make sure that you've got everything framed up right. Now the battery is new. It is slightly bigger than the old batteries, but you are getting longer battery life. And one feature that a lot of people are excited about is the fact that you can remove the front lens, or the front element, I guess you could say. And so if you did scratch this or whatever, you can replace it, but you can also mount ND or polarizing filters straight to the front of it instead of putting one over this. So that's a pretty sweet feature. And then obviously they have the new Max Mod mount. They'll give you an even wider field of view and some other pretty cool features that come along with the Max Mod. One thing that I'm really excited about with the GoPro Hero 9 is that it has even better stabilization, and not only that, but they've put stabilization across the board in pretty much all frame rates and all resolutions. So no matter if you're shooting 5K, 4K, or 1080, or 240 frames per second, or just 24 frames per second, you've got stabilization across the board with boost. And then they've also introduced horizon leveling, which is pretty awesome. What's up, guys? We are out on the trail today, and I'm actually filming this right now on the GoPro Hero 9 with the 5K horizon leveling in linear mode, which is pretty awesome. All just holding it handheld, and we'll see how it looks. I've got to mess around a little bit with that, which I'll get into in just a little bit, but I was really impressed with the horizon leveling. So let's talk about some of the specs. As I just mentioned, it shoots in 5K. That's incredible. And the fact that it shoots 5K 24 frames per second as well as 30 frames per second. So if you wanted to slow it down ever so slightly, you can, especially if you're editing on a 24 frame timeline. But to get a 5K camera in the price range that they are pricing the GoPro at, that's pretty impressive, and it's legit. Another thing that I'm really excited about, and as I mentioned before, is the stabilization. They made the stabilization even better on the GoPro Hero 9. They stepped it up again, and they made it so you can use hyper smooth and boost across the board. So basically any resolution you want to shoot and any frame rate you want to shoot, you're gonna have extra smooth footage without the need of a gimbal or any stabilizer, just handheld. But with anything, you have to know that it comes with some limitations. So when I used Hypersmooth plus boost and horizon leveling, it does crop in and it gave me a pretty smooth video. But unless you have a lot of light or you can have a really fast shutter speed, sometimes it'll do some weird stuff. And I kind of got like this weird blurred motion going on, and it just looked strange. So I'm gonna keep messing with that, and I want to try it in a more well-lit atmosphere and with a higher shutter speed. Now I was shooting on auto, but since there was not that much light, my shutter speed was probably fairly low, and that's why I got the results that I did. It obviously still has great slow motion, and the favorite slow motion that I've been utilizing has been 4K 60 or 2.7K at 120 frames. You can shoot 1080 240, but I just really like the 2.7K at 120. It looks really nice. It has some amazing built-in capabilities for time lapses and hyperlapses, making them easier than ever before. And there are a ton of other features that I'm not even gonna be able to cover in this video, but one of them that I did wanna touch on is hindsight. There's things that can happen right before you hit the shutter and you just didn't know that that was gonna happen. you can set your hindsight to start recording at a set amount of time before you hit the record button. It's kind of confusing to say, but basically it's constantly recording and refreshing. So as soon as you hit that record button, it'll back up to the 15 seconds before you hit that, or whatever you set it to. Enough talking about the GoPro Hero 9. Here are a few shots that I want to share with you guys, shot between 5K, 4K, and 120. And yeah, I'm really happy with the GoPro so far. I'm still working out some of my favorite settings, but so far, here's what I have found to be the best settings. You want to set your resolution as high as possible for whatever you're shooting. So if you're shooting in real time, why not shoot 5K? If your computer can't handle it, then maybe go down to 4K, and then in 4K you can shoot up to 60 frames per second. So if you do want a little bit of slow motion, go ahead and shoot 4K 60. If you're wanting extra slow motion, I would use the 2.7K at 120 frames per second. Depending on what you're shooting, that will determine probably what lens you want, but if you want a wide action sports view, I would go either super view or wide. But if you want more of a cinematic look, still with a wide angle, then pick linear, and definitely check out the new horizon leveling. So now down in the Pro Tune settings, I like to set my bitrate to high. For now, I've been leaving my shutter to auto. My white balance, I will usually set to 5500. For color, kind of just depends. You're gonna get more range if you shoot flat, and if you wanna color grade it, feel free to shoot in the flat mode, but the GoPro color actually looks pretty good. So if you don't wanna color grade, just leave it on the GoPro color and it's gonna look great right off the camera. My sharpness, I set to medium. Don't set it to high. I do not like the way high looks. It's way too sharp. It looks fake, looks weird. But I would say definitely medium or low. And that's pretty much my settings across the board. I hope that you guys like this video about the new GoPro Hero 9. It's definitely a really impressive camera and I'm excited to learn more about it. If you guys like this video, leave it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in another video.